Hello there, welcome to episode 102 of Never Mind the Bullens. It's your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast. We're back with that. I'm Mike Peters. Hope you're well and we can now all relax that the season is over and just enjoy a palpable sense of relief, not least that Everton didn't get relegated, but also the fact that Liverpool didn't win the title. Let's be fair, it was a pretty exciting final day, to be honest. It was quite nice in a way that we had nothing to play for. Obviously, watching the machinations of Burnley and Leeds rolling on. But obviously, we had to, pick ourselves up and go to Arsenal. And kind of what we all expected, really, was sort of came to pass. Much changed team. But at least we're consistent with getting a thumping at Arsenal, as we've done many a time, or thumping by Arsenal many a time down the year. Whether it be at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season. Cast your mind back to the 6-1 game at Goodison in 2009, or the 7-0 defeat at Highbury in 2005, after we'd obviously qualified for the Champions League, or I was getting a wall up in last year. At least we're consistent with conceding 5 goals on the final day. We did the exact same thing against Man City, but it didn't really matter in the sense of it didn't affect us in terms of where we ended up in the league. Although, to be fair, had we managed to get a result, the fact that Southampton got a pasting by Leicester obviously could have got us slightly further up the table. And importantly, given obviously what's emerged since Thursday night in terms of Burnley and Leeds suggesting that they're going to take this further in terms of potentially a court and all the rest of it with Everton's finances. Helping bridge that financial gap, that financial chasm that we seem to have by winning a couple of extra £1 million in prize money might not have been the worst thing in the world, but we didn't do that, and that obviously will play out. But I think this situation with the money has been pretty well documented. It's been pretty well known. The club have been very upfront with the Premier League. The club don't seem too bothered about it, and it strikes me as a little bit sort of a bit of sour grapes, really. It's straws being clutched at by Leeds and Burnley. Leeds almost don't need to get involved in this now because they've survived anyway. So they're probably hedging their bets a little bit to see what came on the final day. Obviously, they beat Brentford and they stay up, and Burnley go down. I actually wanted Burnley to stay up, but you can't get everything you want. The most important thing was Everton stayed up, and we have. So, final day, obviously, I was half watching the game, if I'm honest, because the excitement was coming from other places, so I did keep an eye on it. And again, the defending was absolutely atrocious for a number of the goals. But having watched a lot of the footage from Thursday night afterwards and watched the highlights, I think 6, 7, 8 times, the winning goal from all angles, and fair play to the club for managing to capture the essence of the evening so brilliantly, with the amount of stuff that the media teams put out. It's absolutely amazing, really, and also helping those of us that were at the ground but couldn't see what the hell was going on amongst this sort of complete melee of thousands of fans on the pitch, not being able to see that the players did come back out, that Frank Lampard was up on the top of the executive boxes dancing with fans. I couldn't see that from my vantage point up at the back of the lower Gladys. So, I found that video very, very, helpful in terms of colouring in the colouring the picture as to what actually happened after the game. Wonderful to see the togetherness, and if you weren't moved just by the sort of the piece of footage of Seamus Coleman and Frank Lampard and Seamus Coleman's 2 little girls, and what Frank Lampard said about him, then I'm sorry, you've got a heart of stone, or you're a Liverpool supporter. I joke, I'm joking. I can afford to joke now, but it was absolutely lovely. And now of course the rumour mill's gone into overdrive when suggesting, is that going to be Seamus's last game with the club? I doubt that very much. I think that he's probably got another season, probably as a second choice if Nathan Patterson is fit and he can use his experience and he has him there. He hasn't got to rely on him every game, because he shouldn't have been in the position where he should have been playing every game. But in a way, we needed his leadership, his love of the club, to sort of get us through these last difficult few months, certainly since really October, November time, where it's been just relentlessly sort of a relentless roller coaster of, well, just misery for the most part and relief in the end. So Sunday, obviously, good to see players, some youngsters getting the chance. Great to see Tom Davis making his first start since November. Goals were just woeful, really poor defending from corners, as has been our one all season. And it just shines, I was going back into it with Donny van der Beek, and, that's a sort of sign-off goal from him, because he will obviously now go back to Manchester United with Ten Hag coming in. He'll fancy to get another crack there. And certainly, even if he doesn't get another crack at United, he's not done enough in his few months. Injury obviously has played a part, but suggestions I have heard that he was sort of fit but didn't want to put himself at risk in the last few games. Whether that is true or not, I have absolutely no idea, and I don't tend to remember that. But we've had this before with players where you think you need to put yourselves on in the firing line. If he's not been fit, he's not been fit, genuinely. But he certainly hasn't done enough to warrant us going out and spending a lot of money on him. Yes, midfield is an area that we need to strengthen, and we'll discuss that and all the rest of it, and go through sort of the squad as it is, in terms of who stays and who needs to be ideally, got rid of and replaced in coming episodes. But, good to see him sign off with a goal. But just sort of a general sort of capitulation and a sort of very much an after the Lord Mayor show kind of feel. Obviously didn't do Arsenal any favours because they didn't qualify in the top four. Tottenham managed to do that. So it's a peculiar sort of podcast to be doing, really, because there's nothing that much to say about the game itself, other than, obviously, you never like getting beaten 5-1, irrespective of the circumstances. But we all, at the end of it, just went, nah. I saw tweets from various people trying to wind Everton fans, and there just was the collective, and it was a number of tweets in a row. Actually, it was quite funny, which was going, not asked, which I don't think we are. Monday morning, yeah, we lost, but doesn't matter. We sort of just, that's it now. The season's done. We, everybody has a rest for a few weeks and a huge chance to recuperate and sort of restore themselves and get ready for going again and just going at it with a different mentality, a different style of play, different personnel, because obviously there are going to be a number of players that are going, so we can sort of delve into that a little bit in terms of like Jane Tosin, Fabian Delph, who knows. There's a number of players that probably won't be there next season. And you look and you go, right, where do we need to strengthen? I was talking with young Harry, my stepson, on the way into school this morning. Talking about, oh, well, 10 out, might want Richarlison. I said, well, I don't think, we're talking about, oh, in the league next season, getting very excited. I said, we've got no idea yet. It's far too early to say things like that. I said, but it won't be Manchester United. He said, well, they might sign Richarlison. I said, well, Richarlison's not going to help you win the league. As good as he is, I said, he's not going to be the one that makes the difference and makes you win the title. It's going to take a lot more than that. And it's going to take a lot more for us to get ourselves away and back up to where we want to be in terms of challenging for that top six. You're looking at certainly probably four, first, starters really for next season in terms of defenders, central defenders, certainly midfielders, and you need backup options that we don't have really in attack, whether the likes of your Lewis Dobbins and your Ellis Sims, now he potentially comes back from Hearts, are going to make that difference. We don't know. We can sit and speculate in the beer garden for the next couple of weeks on that one. But another season is done, and I cast my mind back 12 months almost to the day in terms of how I felt after the Man City game at the back end of last season, and what a colossal disappointment that was, and the way that we absolutely folded on the last day of the last season and gave City the easiest win. I mean, they'd already won the title, I think, at that stage, but the easiest win that they could have ever imagined. A proper sort of end of season title, sort of award, and it was very much go on, old horse, help yourself. Yesterday the feeling was slightly different, but we've got to, that sort of shines a light on the mentality, I suppose, and that's one of the elements that needs to change. So, what we will do before we wrap up, even though the season's wrapped up for Everton, the season is not wrapped up for Nevermind the Bullens. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll do a couple of end-of-season reviews, if you can manage that, and certainly looking forward to next season in terms of personnel. So it'd be good to get your thoughts in terms of who you would bring in, who you will get rid of. At NMTB Pod is the way to do that on Twitter, or nmtbpod@gmail.com. This has been a Top Content production, and until the next time, relax, enjoy yourself. It's all done. Come on, you Blues.